Hi everybody, welcome to this video on solving quadratics by factorization. So let's quickly review the null factor law. That says if a times b equals 0, then a equals 0 or b equals 0. They're our solutions. So here's our process that we need to follow here to solve these problems. Firstly, we need to make sure all terms are on the left-hand side. We then need to fully factorize as best as we can. And then we're going to apply the null factor law to generate our solutions. So we're looking at these two terms here. Everything's on the left-hand side. So we've satisfied that condition and we're ready to factorize. And I'm looking here, what is common between these two terms? There's no number in common, but x is common to both. So I'm going to pull x out the front, and that's going to leave me with 3x plus 5 in brackets. Okay, if I were to expand this, x times 3x and x times 5, I'm going to get what we had up here. And now we're ready to apply the null factor law, which says either x equals 0 or 3x plus 5 equals 0. And then we need to show the solution in each case. Here our solution will be 3x is minus 5 and x is minus 5 on 3. Okay, so there are two solutions, either x is 0 or x is minus 5 on 3. Let's have a look at this one up here. And we've got to look for the highest common factor. So we're looking here, we can see 4 and 16. 4 is common, and so is x. In fact, 4x is common. And that means in brackets, we're going to have here x plus 4. Okay, 4x times x is 4x squared, and 4x times 4 would give us 16x. Now let's apply the null factor law. Either 4x equals 0 or x plus 4 is 0. Okay, this gives us the solution x is 0, and this gives us the solution x is minus 4. Both of these numbers are going to make this statement true. That's what we mean by they're a solution to the equation. Now in this problem here, we don't have everything on one side, and so we need to bring it all to the left. And so what I'm doing is I'm first going to subtract 3x from both sides. So I'll write that step in here. What I'm doing is I'm going 2 squared take 3x equals 3x take 3x, just to show you exactly what's going on. And over here, this is going to cancel, and we're just going to have 2x squared take 3x equals 0. Now what we want to do is factorize over here. We've got everything on the one side, and so we've moved it all to the left, and so we're ready to factorize. So what's common between these two terms? It's not a number, again, it's just x. We're going to have x times 2x take 3. And then we'll apply the null factor law. X is 0 or 2x take 3 is 0. This gives us 2x is 3 and x is 3 on 2. So they're them being our two solutions, x is 0 and x is 3 on 2. Next we have here what we call a Monic quadratic trinomial. Okay, and to solve these, to factorize these, we need to use the cross product method. Now I've done a fairly comprehensive video on this skill, so if you can't really remember how to do this skill, you can go back and watch that. This skill is very important because here we're going to see a direct application for that skill. So I'm not going to go over that skill so much here, I'm just going to show you how we generate the solution to this problem. If you need to practice that skill, watch the other video. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply together to give us 24, and when we add them together, we're going to get 11. And the answer here is going to be 8 and 3. Okay, we can see that 8x plus 3x gives us 11x. So our solution then is x plus 8 times x plus 3 is equal to 0. And then we'll apply the null factor law. Either x plus 8 equals 0 or x plus 3 equals 0. This gives us the solution x is minus 8, and this gives us the solution x is minus 3. There are two solutions that make this statement true, that make the left side equal the right side. Moving on. We've got another quadratic trinomial here that's equal to 0. So we've got two numbers that multiply together to give us 8, and when we add them together, we get 6. So I'm going to say this one is going to be 4 and 2. All right, x times 4 is 4x, x times 2 is 2x, and we add them together, we get 6x. So we have x plus 4 times x plus 2 is 0. Let's apply the null factor law. X is minus 4 or x is minus 2. They're going to be our two solutions. All right, in F, we're going to need to move everything over to the left-hand side. So we're going to have x squared take 10x and plus 25 equals 0. Now there's two procedures we could use here to solve this one. Okay, we can go straight ahead and try our factorization using the cross product method, or we can recognize that it's a perfect square. That here we have x squared take 2ab plus b squared. I'm just going to go ahead and go with this process, and we will check out the perfect squares a bit more later on. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply together to give us 25, and when we add them together we get minus 10, and that's going to be minus 5 and minus 5. Okay, minus 5 times minus 5 is positive 25, and minus 5x plus minus 5x is minus 10x. So our solution is x take 5 squared is 0. We can square root both sides, so we have x take 5 is 0, and so we've got one solution. It's x is 5, and we'll learn a bit later that's called a double root or a double solution. With g here, we're going to fully expand, move everything to the left-hand side, collect like terms, and then factorize. So here I'm going to have x squared plus 2x plus 3x take 3, and then take 11 equal to 0. If we're looking for like terms, we're going to have 2x and 3x. That's going to give us 5x. And minus 3 and minus 11, that's going to give us minus 14. And so we're looking for two numbers that multiply together to give us minus 14. And when we add them together, we've got positive 5. So the solution there is going to be positive 7 and minus 2. Okay, positive 7 times minus 2 is going to give us minus 14. And when we add them together, we've got positive 5x. So let's apply the null factor law. We've got x plus 7 times x take 2 equal to 0. X is going to be minus 7, or x is going to be positive 2. Okay, up here. So now we have what's called a non-monic quadratic trinomial. So it gets even more complex. Still the same process applies. First we move everything to the left-hand side. So we've got 7x squared plus 6x take 1 is 0. And then we're looking to factorize this. So we have to look in, we have to go, what things multiply together to give us 7x squared? It's going to be 7x and x. And then multiples of minus 1, there's two ways it could go. It could be negative 1 and 1, or it could be the other way around. I can see that it's going to be this way because when we cross multiply, we're going to have positive 7x and minus x. And when we add them together, we get positive 6x, which is our solution there. Now, when we're factorizing quadratic trinomials, both monic and non-monic, we need to make sure we wrap the brackets around horizontally. So the solution is 7x take 1 and x plus 1 equals 0. This is going to give us 7x equals 1, x is 1 on 7, or this solution gives us x is minus 1. Okay. When we get a problem like this, what we want to do is get rid of the denominators. And the way we're going to do that is cross multiply. What we're effectively doing is I'm multiplying both sides by 2x. Okay, so times 2x here and then times 2x here. So that can cancel. And then multiply both sides by 4. So I'm going to put times 4 here and times 4 here. So that will cancel. And we're going to be left with 2, let's expand this as we're doing it. We're going to have 2x squared plus 2x. And then over here, we're going to have equals 4. We bring it all to the left-hand side. 2x squared plus 2x, take 4 is 0. Now from here, you can factorize the 2 out the front and then factorize it. Or we can keep it as is and factorize it like this. So let's just keep the 2 in there. We're going multiples of 2x squared is going to be 2x and x. Multiples of minus 4, okay? That's going to be positive 2 and negative 2. So we want, I think, the positive 2 here and then negative 2 here. And let me show you why. When we cross multiply, we're going to have minus 2x and then plus 4x. And we can see that when we combine these, we've got positive 2x overall. Let's wrap the brackets around horizontally. So we've got 2x take 2 times x plus 2 equals 0. We go wrapping the brackets around horizontally. and then apply the null factor law. 2x take 2 is 0, or x plus 2 is 0. This gives us minus 2, and this is going to give us 2x is 2 and x is 1. Okay, very last one here. When we have this x at the bottom here, there's going to be a few of them that prop up like that. There's an x as the denominator. The very first thing you want to do is multiply both sides by x. Okay, so then here, let's do that. This is going to be x squared, and we're going to have x times 8 divided by x. What that becomes is it becomes 8x on top of x, which can cancel. So we're just going to have 8 here, and then 6x. We've got x squared plus 8 plus 6x, and 0 times x, of course, is just 0. And now, because we've multiplied both sides by x, we've generated a quadratic trinomial, which we can now factorize. Multiples of x squared are x and x. Now, it's written around the wrong way, so I might just write it out properly first. X squared plus 6x plus 8. So it's ax squared plus bx plus c. And now we're ready to factorize it, just so we're not getting those two terms confused. We're looking for two numbers that multiply together to give us 8. When we add them together, we get 6. It's going to be 2 and 4. Okay, we can see x times 2 is 2x, x times 4 is 4x, and when we add them together, we get 6x. Wrap the brackets horizontally. X plus 2 times x plus 4 is 0. And apply the null factor law. X is minus 2 or x is minus 4. So they do start off quite easy, like we did here. Okay, just pulling an x out the front. And then they get into that, we're recalling that quadratic trinomials. Again, if you found that skill challenging, check out the video I do, because it is quite comprehensive and it will go through exactly that process. How do we generate these solutions? If you're feeling comfortable with that, then you should be okay with the rest of this exercise, as it's just an application of that concept. So good luck. We'll catch up with you.